John Frost looked on the gathered crowd, now 3,000 strong. With heavy heart, his voice rang loud as he sang this loveless song. God is a guide from field, from wave, from plough, from anvil, and from loom. We come our country's rights to save and speak a tyrant faction's doom. We raise the watch with liberty. We will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. And bobbies took an oath to be our nation's warders, swearing that they would enforce Sir Robert's Rules of Order. To Newport rose a million friends who rallied each supporter to join this flood of working men against Robert's Rules of Order. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. Like this, on the steps of Parliament, John Frost stood proud and tall. A hush fell on this great event as he told them one and all, depose the gentry and the crown, depose the House of Lords, or join the Queen in exile by Robert's Rules of Order. So Chartists, Luddites, Communists, recall each faithful martyr who died so you could have your new world Robert's Rules of Order. Say it loud, vote your favor, shout it high. All in favor, you say aye. Favor, aye. Favor, aye. A mandate of the people's cry. Favor, aye. Favor, aye. Let's hear the opposition side like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed, you say nay. Opposed, opposed. The motion carries anyway. Currents change and bring to us our tear-corrupted warder. In chains subdued and ill-abused, he's left with no supporters. Mobility's will can then proceed by our own rules of order, and we'll all cheer for country's sake when Robert's drawn in quarter. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament shall be reborn with Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay, woo! Oh boy. Okay, I need a margarita. Wayne's at a good. That's always good. We need our libations. Wayne's at a not that I need food. He made food before. He's at a work meeting though, so we can't be calling and bugging him for anything. So, we're going to be continuing on the RP exam, but we've got to do our little bit of LP bitching at the beginning. First of all, please give Mark Montoni my apologies, because I think you guys might be getting a couple more appeals.
We already did.
Oh, they came in already? Colorado?
One of them did, and
Colorado?
Yeah, and we
okay.
Yeah, and we don't have jurisdiction on that one.
I'm waiting to hear from you guys. The only reason I knew about it, it's from Sean. I know this is no secret. He asked me who to email it to, so I knew that was coming. I think there's others though that I can't tell you. So because they haven't said so. It's just me reading the room.
Well, Wisconsin still can't get their shit together, so.
So we'll see. We'll see. Poor Mark. You guys went through 2 years with nothing. I'm sure you were like, we're sitting pretty. And when Mark becomes part of the rotating chair, and now all of a sudden. So,
his email comment was, and I quote, "Am I still chair?"
Were you aware, because we could talk about this sort of thing on the show, so you were aware that an appeal was filed in Colorado first?
I believe so.
Okay, well, this is all public. I mean, obviously, it should be published on the Colorado site. So there was an appeal filed in Colorado. And I want to, we could talk about that slightly before we get into this, because people are interested. I recused myself from that appeal, obviously. Well, maybe it's not obvious to everyone, I mean, why that would be, but it's because I personally felt that as National Secretary, my conflict was just, it was too much. And interestingly, and this hearing is, if you want to see the initial, I don't want to call it a hearing, the handoff is what I call it. I got everyone together, the JC together, Sean together, the LPCO board, and said, I'm presiding over the election of a chair pro tem only, and handing it over. So Eric Butel was the chair pro tem, and I think did a real good job. But as you know, under Colorado's bylaws, they don't have to hear the appeal. Now, this might be something that people want to fix in the future. So what happened is they declined to hear the appeal, but issued an opinion. So to me, it was kind of like almost, to me, to decline to hear it, you don't say anything. You just say, we're not going to hear it. So it was almost like a summary opinion where they were like, there's just is no question here. So we're just telling you this isn't anything. So this is what the Colorado, it's one page, and this is a public, if it's not on the Colorado website now, it should be, and I'll certainly stick it on LPCO. So I'm going to read this out loud. It says, Mr. Vadney and the LPCO board, after reviewing the Judicial Committee appeal by Mr. Sean Vadney on June 16th, the Judicial Committee has decided by a unanimous vote. Now, again, I wasn't part of that vote, and one of our members had resigned. So this was 3 persons. We'll be filling our vacancy soon. We have applications out for that. The Judicial Committee reserves the right to hear an appeal or to decline. The appeal as presented does not meet the burden of proof for an LPCO bylaw violation. So to me, this was kind of like a summary decision. Number 1, the appeal highlights events and decisions that the appellant believes violate LP national bylaws. The LPCO Judicial Committee's scope of duties does not include consideration of LP national bylaws. And then it gets to the, and I think you'll find these arguments very interesting. Section 1, it says, the claim is that LPCO's purpose is nominating serious party candidates for political office, and the board's resolution in question blocks this purpose and denies Colorado party members and Coloradans the option to vote for a libertarian presidential candidate. The appeal is correct that the LPCO bylaws state that a purpose of the party is to nominate serious candidates. While this statement is in Article 2F, there is no obligation in the LPCO bylaws to nominate any candidate for political office. Therefore, nominations, while it is a stated purpose of the party, are decided at the discretion of the LPCO membership at convention and through their representatives on the LPCO board. Section 2. The appeal is disputing that the Libertarian Party of Colorado bylaws grant authority over presidential candidate nominations to the board. And then they cite, and you're going to like that they cited this. Well, maybe you won't like it, but it's the part that I think you wrote. Article 11, Section 4A states, the United States Supreme Court has recognized that the nomination of candidates under political party rules fails under First Amendment freedom of association protections and therefore overrides state laws when such rules so state. As such, all rules for nominating candidates are limited to only these bylaws, and all state laws regarding nominating candidates are to be considered overridden and void. The party reserves all First Amendment rights in this regard. And they go on to say, from this statement, the LPCO has sole discretion in nominating candidates as a First Amendment right, whether by the membership of the party, through the state convention, or through the LPCO board. The current LPCO bylaws
wait a second.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, yeah, I did write that section.
Yeah.
However, they're misapplying it. That applies to state level nominations. That does not apply to putting a national candidate on the ballot.
I'm just telling you what their decision is, and it's final. You know, as you know, I'm not giving any opinion on their decision because I have, in fact, recused myself. I'm just reading it. And then it goes on to say, the current LPCO bylaws do not require granting ballot access to the LP national presidential and vice presidential candidates, leaving the decision to the LPCO membership. Timing is crucial for this decision, as the LP National Convention date will always occur after the LPCO State Convention. Therefore, without a special convention, the decision of placing LP National presidential and vice presidential candidates on the Colorado ballot resides with the LPCO board as representatives of the LPCO membership. Agree or not, that's what the Colorado JC said. I am offering no public opinion to anybody on this. Because, again, when I say recuse myself, I recused myself. But now we're filling our vacancy. Mark Cavan moved out of state. So he was on the JC, and he is, obviously not a JC member anymore. So we didn't want to fill the vacancy before this decision, because poor new person. Can you imagine getting thrown onto the committee and this was the first thing?
Well, that kind of explains why Mr. Vadney has appealed this to the national JC.
Yeah.
But I think the state JudCom, I think their reasoning is flawed.
Well, we're not, because I'm here, I don't want to analyze it. This was information purpose only.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think the national JC has no jurisdiction on this, because there is nothing within the national bylaws that such a decision by a state board would fall under. So
it's interesting. Perhaps there's holes in both sets of bylaws, but these sorts of things.
Wait, national does not have any authority to overturn any state affiliate decision. That's not in the national bylaws. Period. That's not.
I get it.
That's not our
jurisdiction. Where I'm saying there might be a hole is, and there is a Huntington Township Watch says, good evening, Caryn Ann and Mike. JJ invited me to view this live. He said these discussions are interesting, and he's a client of JJ's, or they are a client of JJ's. Where I'm saying there might be holes is, let me give you an example. As you know, or maybe this got added after your time, California's state bylaws require them to put whoever is nominated at the National Convention on their ballot. Maybe that needs to be in Colorado's. Don't know. Or maybe the national bylaws need to make that an obligation of affiliates.
I think it should be, because what gives a state affiliate the right to override the national convention?
Again,
that's the ultimate question here. So.
Yeah. I am, zipping it. I'm on a committee that is working with these boards, working with Colorado, working with Montana, and whatever, to see if there can be some peaceful, resolution that makes everybody happy. So it says she is a client. So that's why I went he and then they, because I wasn't sure. But Huntington Township Watch, she. Now we know. All right, so let's get to the meat of this, but please do give Mark Montoni. Is he the chair for the... No, who's next? You're doing rotating chairs. Who's after Mark?
I'd have to look, but I know it's not me.
Okay.
Mark is in until at least the end of September, I believe.
I love Mark, but I am laughing also. Oh, he wanted this job. He ran for it.
What's really odd is that even though people are sending things up to the JC, only one or two people are seeing them on the JC list, which is really weird.
Oh, send me that trouble ticket, because I'll get with Canyon. He's our tech guy, and he's really, so also is Andy Bukovic. But the mailing list stuff, the distro list, is handled by Canyon, and he'll fix it right away. So send me who's not getting.
The Vadney one, because the Vadney one, Rob Latham saw it, but none of us, the rest of us had. And the one from Wisconsin initially was relayed by Angela to me, but the rest of the committee hadn't seen it either until I forwarded it on. So I don't know what in the heck's going on.
Okay, I'll alert Canyon too. He'll give me a little printout of who is on the judicial at lp.org list, and JC at lp.org is supposed to forward to judicial at lp.org. Okay, alrighty. We're on number 15. Oh, you don't have this sheet, so we're still in motions and related. No, part 2 motion. Oh no, we were. Oh, classifications. Classifications. And I asked JJ a classification question, which I don't want him to reveal in chat, but he was like, "Oh, I'm proud of you. You were actually like trying to figure out the classification." Because I hate that shit.
By the way, speaking of that, did you ever get the paper copy of the latest NAP newsletter?
Oh yeah, and there's actually something in there I want to talk with you about, but not this show. I
got it too.
Yeah, I dog-eared some pages, and I also dog-eared, and I don't mind telling you this because I told JJ this too. There was like a little letter in the front too that said, now yours is coming up. Actually, they didn't offer this for RP, but it said RPs that are looking to be a PRP that you could write them, and allegedly they would assign you a mentor. So I wrote. I haven't gotten a response, but here I'm going to tell you. I hope JJ doesn't mind me saying this. So we were talking about PRP, and he basically is like, what they're doing is they're judging you. You can't really study for its experience and presentation and all that. So I said, basically, you're telling me that my pink hair is going to hurt me on this. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not changing my hair color. I don't change for anybody. And if that hurts me on it, so be it. Because you know how I feel about that. I think the whole parliamentarian thing's a bit...
If it hurts you, then they've got to get their act together, because it should be on merit and skill, not what you look like.
It's a bit too... The whole thing's a bit too stuffy. We're here to make sure we don't all look like funeral directors. But anyway, if the pink hair hurts me, it hurts me. And I already said, and I said to JJ, I know, don't drop a bunch of F-bombs. And don't go like full libertarian on them. Like, I get all that. Like, they think democracy's great and all of that. I know. I get it. Won't go full libertarian. Okay. 15. Question 15. So you're ready. Are you ready? Are you ready, Mr. Seebeck?
I think so, but here's the question. How much of a delay do we have back and forth going on here?
At least a second.
Okay.
And it's varying, like it's worse now than it was a few minutes ago.
Weird.
Okay. A motion to postpone a matter that is not... Oh, no, we already did this one. Never mind. We're on 16. Yeah, we did. I remember it now. Okay. Which subsidiary motions may also be made as incidental main motions when no other motion is pending?
Did we have that one too? That sounds like
these questions are all related. No, we haven't.
I could have sworn we did. Okay, so which subsidiaries can also be incidental main motions with no business pending? That's the question.
No, when no other motion is pending. I mean, well, I guess that's business.
No other motion is pending. Yeah. Okay, so what's the choices?
A, commit and lay on the table. B, amend, commit, limit or extend limits of debate and previous question. C, postpone indefinitely, amend, commit, postpone to a certain time, and limit or extend limits of debate. D, Now you know we didn't do this one before because none were long like this. Amend, commit, postpone to a certain time, limit or extend limits of debate, and lay on the table.
All right. I don't think that amend can become an incidental main motion on its own. So that would eliminate B, C, and D and leave us with A.
Which is commit and lay on the table.
Yes.
Where'd I put the answer key to this thing?
I don't know.
It's here. So number 16. It says C.
Which was?
JJ says the answer has changed. I don't know what he means. C was postpone indefinitely, amend, commit, postpone to a certain time, and limit or extend limits of debate. Page 66, 18 through 22. And he said C too, but he says this answer has changed, and I'm waiting for some clarification here.
66, page 66?
Yep, 18 through 22. Everyone, this is the older edition we're working on, which is the 11th.
Yeah, I'm looking for a cross-reference in this. This is section 6. Yeah, I'm going to look this up because I really want to know what the hell they're talking about.
Okay, so it says for all of the first 5 subsidiary motions, that is, for all except previous question to lay on the table, there is a corresponding incidental main motion of the same name that can be made when no other motion is pending.
Right, and it changed. This is 6-9 in the new one, in 12. It says, for each of the subsidiary motions, amend, commit, postpone definitely, and limit or extend limits of debate, there is a corresponding incidental main motion of the same name that can be made when no other motion is pending.
So allegedly this change, we're skipping this one.
Yeah.
It's changed.
How can you have an amend be an incidental main motion? Because doesn't that adhere to a main motion or a subsidiary by definition?
Amend something previously adopted. Amend can be a main motion. Remember, we got tricked by that before.
Okay. That's right.
But that one, because it changed,
previous adopter are two different things. Yeah.
But because this one changed, let's just, because we don't want to confuse people between 2 editions, we're not marking that down. Yeah. We're not doing anything with that one. Okay. Funny enough, here we go. Which of the following motions is never a main motion?
Okay.
Postpone to a certain time, lay on the table, commit or refer, amend something previously adopted.
Well, we know the last one, amend something previously adopted, can be an incidental main motion. But the question, are they saying, the question is, which of these can never be a main motion? Mm-hmm. Is that what they're saying? Would that include an incidental main motion?
I would say it would include any main motion. That's the way I would understand it.
Sorry, the way they get on wording questions kind of nitpicky and weird sometimes. That's why I'm asking.
And well, some of these really suck.
Yeah. Okay, so give me the choices again.
Postpone to a certain time.
Okay.
Lay on the table. Commit or refer. And amend something previously adopted.
And this is which one is not?
Is never.
Never, yeah. I want to say lay on the table. Because we know. Okay, let's walk through this and think this through. Because the first choice was what?
Postpone to a certain time.
That one could be an incidental main motion because it could be pertain to an item of business that hasn't been addressed yet. Okay, what's B?
Lay on the table.
Okay, let's go to C.
Commit or refer.
That one could be an incidental main motion about something that hasn't happened yet either. D,
Amend something previously adopted.
we know that could be an incidental main motion. I'm sticking with lay on the table.
And you are correct.
Yay, I got one.
We never use the term refer, by the way. So whenever it says commit or refer, I'm like, we don't ever use that one.
Refer is an anachronism, but some people still do it.
Okay. Interesting. I'm checking if I know the answer to it. Okay. Which of the following motions is never an incidental main motion? A, postpone. You want me to say it again? So
yes, please.
Which of the following is never an incidental main motion?
Okay.
A, postpone to a certain time. B, previous question. C, commit or refer. D, amend something previously adopted.
Previous question. That's an easy one.
Yeah, it's definitely previous question. You got to remind me to keep.
Because you've got to have a pending question for calling previous question. So
yeah, you have to have the previous before the. Yeah, there has to be a previous question before you move the previous question. Wouldn't it be?
I'm calling it the previous question on the next motion.
Wouldn't it be funny?
That way.
Convention, okay. Chair calls the convention to order, and someone gets up and goes, "I call all the questions."
And the response is, "We haven't done anything yet."
And the person, that's the goal. That almost sounds like national. I am quite salty about.
No, that's the what can I say? The fast forward caucus.
Okay. 19. You don't need the numbers. I'm doing that to keep. Right, my contacts are bothering me right now. If you notice, like I'm blinking a lot. They're like, I don't know. They're bugging me. The motion to limit or extend limits of debate moved when no motion is pending is A, an incidental motion. B, an incidental main motion. C, an original main motion. Or D, a subsidiary motion.
Incidental main motion. We've been going off on this for the last couple of questions.
Yes. So these are all building on each other. We're getting to a new section soon, but hopefully now this is good for both of us because we kind of hate these things. 20. Okay. Hold on, I gotta put my glasses on. Like it's right at the point where it's in the weird area of my vision. I might need to put it a little. Fuck. Sorry. All right. I have no idea. Privileged motions as a class are distinguished by which of the following conditions? A, they do not relate to pending business. B, unlike subsidiary motions, they do not fit into an order of precedence. C, they are identical to questions of privilege. D, they allow interruption without debate of many other questions.
Okay, give me that from the top one more time.
Privileged motions as a class are distinguished by which of the following conditions? A, they do not relate to pending business. B, unlike subsidiary motions, they do not fit into an order of precedence. C, they are identical to questions of privilege. D, they allow interruption with debate of many other questions.
Okay, they're not debatable, so the last one is not the case. Um, so we can eliminate D. Um, A was what again?
They do not relate to pending
We
business.
do not relate to pending business. They can relate to pending business, I think. What's B?
Unlike subsidiary motions, they do not fit into an order of precedence.
That I believe to be true, but keep going. What's C?
C is they are identical to questions of privilege.
I don't think so. I'm going to stick with B because I'm pretty sure that's the accurate one.
Which is unlike subsidiary motions, they do not fit into an order of precedence.
Yes.
No, that's incorrect. And it is
Really?
A. They do not relate to pending business.
Okay, now wait. Now, well, I understand why that may be true, but I thought that privilege motions, that questions of privilege don't have a hierarchy.
Well, you just said they aren't identical to questions of privilege because you didn't pick C. So let's go to
The
it.
original question was, whoa, let's back up. The original question said what?
Privileged motions as a class.
Privileged motions.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Are
not
dis-
identical to questions of privilege. So that
Right.
definitely is not true.
Right.
Right. D, we already said wasn't true.
But
So that left A and B, and A was,
they do not relate to pending business, which is the correct answer according to this.
but they're saying that there is a hierarchy to them?
Yeah. Like adjourn. That can be a privileged motion.
Double check that because unless I'm getting my questions of privilege and my privilege motions mixed up, which
You're
is
getting
possible.
you are. You're getting your questions of
Okay.
privilege and your. But let's look it up. 66 line 29 through 23.
They don't relate to pending business, yeah.
And that was the answer.
Special
They do
business,
not relate to pending business.
Like subsidiary motions, all the five privileges fit into an order. They do fit into an order of precedence. Okay. Okay, I was getting them correct.
Okay. That one I think would have gotten me too. Okay, next one. Questions of privilege. Now, questions of privilege, not privilege motions.
Oh.
Questions of privilege,
Okay.
not in the nature of a request, which are brought up while no business is pending, are moved the same way as any. A, privileged motions. B, subsidiary motions. C, main motions. D, incidental motions.
Give me that one more time.
Questions of privilege,
Privilege,
not
yeah.
in the nature of a request,
Not-
which are
okay.
brought up while no business is pending, are moved the same way as any. That question is worded very awkwardly. I'm going to see if I can reword it. Questions of privilege that are brought up when no business is pending that are not
Right.
in the nature of a request are moved the same way. I would have switched the words around, and to me that made it clearer.
Uh-huh.
So A,
what's the
a
choices?
privilege motion. B, subsidiary motion. C, main motion. D, incidental motion.
No business is pending, right?
Yes.
If it's a question of privilege raised with no business pending.
And they're not in it. That's not in the nature of a request.
The hell does that even mean? What's a question of privilege that is not in the nature of a request? Because usually a question of privilege is like, things like, can you turn on the air conditioning? Or can you speak up? We can't hear you. So I'm not even sure what they're referring to there.
I'm not sure either, to be honest with you. I think this is a terrible question.
Yeah. I'm going
I
to
think
have to
this is
say it's got to be treated as an incidental main motion. Because the only thing I can think of that makes anything close to sense from what they're describing.
incidental main motion isn't one of the choices.
Well, what's the choices then?
Privileged motion, subsidiary
Yeah,
motion, main motion,
yeah,
incidental
yeah.
motion.
Well, it's not incidental because that's not really a correct term. So I'm gonna have to go with question with privilege motion then.
And it is main motion.
Okay,
So
this
let's
one
look this
requires
up.
an explanation.
68, lines 27 through 29.
68, 27 through 29. Okay, I'm ready to look over here. 68, 27 through 29. For the motions to recess, adjourn, and fix the time to which adjourn, to which it, fix the time to which to adjourn. I can always never get that right. Anyway, there are corresponding incidental main motions of the same names. Questions of privilege can also be brought up while no motion is pending, and at such times they are moved just as any main motion. But if
But it doesn't
questions
say
of
what it
privilege,
is. What are they?
yeah, and the problem is it's exactly it. It's like, well, what the hell is a question of privilege are we talking about here?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I mean,
I don't
yeah,
get it
I mean,
either.
this is in the same section as privileged motions.
Which we already saw in the other thing, that privileged motions are not identical to questions of privilege.
Yeah. I'm going in index for a minute because this is confusing.
Oh, check this out. Okay, now listen. The privileged, let's just go back to the previous question and relate it to this one. The privileged motions as a class are also known as this is where Robert, they just need to, like the word adjourn, like not always meaning adjourn, like this is another thing they need to fix. The privileged motions as a class are also known as privileged questions, which should not be confused with questions of privilege. What? That's like saying, and I know some people are going to get upset. I'm not trying to say anything inflammatory here, but people of our vintage will often say, when I was younger, calling black people colored people was considered a slur. But now people of color is fine. What's the difference? And to me, it's kind of like privileged questions and questions of privilege. To me, that's analogous. Like, what's the difference? So, I don't get it.
How you phrase it. Yeah, I don't get it either.
JJ's, you're going to need to send that because I don't have the National Parliamentarian first quarter 2006.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't get this one. I don't get it. So there's the privileged motions. But I want to look at what, in the index, what is questions of privilege?
That's why I was heading in the first place. But, oh.
They have too many things with like this, the same or similar names.
Question of privilege 67 225. See also raise a question of privilege. So.
Well, we looked at 67 right now. Let's look at 225.
Yeah. There it is. It's one of the pink tabs. Yeah, section 19. Raise a question of privilege is a device that permits a request or main motion relating to the rights and privileges of the assembly or any of its members to be brought up for possible immediate consideration because of its urgency while business is pending and the request or motion would otherwise be out of order. It is important to understand, this is on 225, the distinction between the device raise a question of privilege and the question of privilege itself. The point to be decided in connection with the former, raise a question of privilege, is whether a certain question shall be admitted for consideration with the status and priority of the latter. The raising of a question of privilege is governed by rules appropriate to the device's high rank in the order of the precedence of motions. When a question of privilege is taken up after it has been raised and has been admitted by the chair, however, depending upon the form in which it introduced, is handled as a request or is treated as a main motion and is debatable and amendable and can have any subsidiary motions applied to it, regardless of whether it was interrupted or awaited the disposal of the pending business. Questions of privilege can also be introduced while no motion is pending, either as request or by being moved and seconded, just as any other main motion. In that case, the device of raising a question of privilege does not enter in. Questions of privilege and motion.
None of that.
Yeah, hang on. The next paragraph. Questions of privilege or motions growing out of them should not be considered confused with privileged motions or privileged questions. The latter comprise of the 5 highest ranking motions in order of precedence, among which raise the question of privilege is assigned a position. That was 225. That last paragraph was 26 to 30.
But like some Quack was saying in chat, but is it not in the nature of a request?
Yeah, and that's what I'm not sure what they're talking about here either.
That question is
it sounds like what they're
confusing.
It sounds like what they're saying of raising a question of privilege is, shall this be considered as a question of privilege, either as a main motion or otherwise?
JJ says we both have a copy of the article.
It's probably hiding in the binder of stuff he sent us.
Well, I haven't read that yet.
I kind of organized it, but the thing of it is that if that's raising the question is, will it be allowed as a question of privilege, then it's heard as such. But that doesn't answer the question. What's the question of privilege? They're saying a privileged question or a privileged motion has raised a question of privilege as one of those.
I'm lost.
The privileged question. So the question, what they're saying here, I think I got it. The privileged question is the group of the highest ranking motions, and raising a question of privilege is one of those 5, and that's the difference, which allows a question of privilege to be heard as one of those 5. I believe that's what they're trying to say here. It's really weird.
I don't understand. And when I don't understand something,
I'm not sure I got right either, but
when I don't understand something, I kind of move along and figure I'll understand it someday. That's kind of like how I learn things. I don't know about you, if you do the same thing, but like even like in dealing with like scientific texts or whatever, I like reading things like that's above my level, and like I get to a part I don't understand, I'm like, okay, I don't understand it, and just keep going. And then eventually you find that it absorbs, and if you go back, then you understand it. But I did not understand any of that. And it seems actually kind of important too. Obviously knowing it all is important. But as you were going through that, I'm like, a lot of that seems like, forget the shenanigans we know that happened at this convention. Let's pretend like none of that happened. It seems like a lot of this is really relevant to some of the things that happened, and that I need to understand it. But I have to tell you, I did not understand that.
JJ says he can explain it if one of us calls him. I'm sure we're going to do that right
I
now.
don't know how to do that on this program. Like, that isn't a thing. that we have.
Case,
so
like put them on speaker and pipe in the microphone, but that would be weird.
I don't. My phone is my camera, and
let's go. I could do it here, but let's not worry about it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
later.
let's. This might be something good for a show on its own. Yeah. Because this really seems quite complex, and I'm not blowing it off. I want to understand it, but I'm not going to lie. I didn't understand that.
Let's worry about it later.
Let's put a pin in it, and
put a pin on that one for later. But yeah.
Okay, so we are getting there. The effect of making a point of order is to A, return to the agenda, B, require order in the assembly hall, C, require the parliamentarian to give an opinion, D, require the chair to make a ruling on the question involved.
Well, it's not C because that's a point of parliamentary inquiry. So A was what again?
I would disagree with you about C. C, you're right, C's not the answer, but a point of parliamentary inquiry does not require the parliamentarian to give an opinion. It requires the chair
that's
to,
true.
who might consult the parliamentarian.
Really?
And the only reason why normally
Okay.
I don't even correct it, like when you give weird reasoning, it's because it just becomes very annoying to me, as it will to you, and it got you, I'm not going to say in a little bit of trouble, but your good nature, got taken advantage of by a delegate at the last convention, that parliamentarian advises the chair speaks.
No. Yeah, I was right for the wrong reason, but that's cool.
Yeah,
Okay, what's A?
and I just wanted to correct that because we hear that constantly. And
that's
Angela
That's
shut
fine.
that down real well at the last convention, because a couple of times people were like, well, what does the parliamentarian think? And she was like, we're not playing that. We're not playing. And I was really, really proud of her for that. Okay, so A, so remember, it's the effect of making a point of order.
Right.
A is to return to the agenda. B, require order in the assembly hall. C, we already ruled out, which was require the parliamentarian to give an opinion. D, require the chair to make a ruling on the question involved.
I think it's D because if you look at B says require order in the hall. That's not a point of order. That's just banging the gavel saying, guys, pay attention. A was, again, what?
Return to the agenda.
Return to the agenda. That's orders of the day. So at least it can be. So I'm sticking with D for the answer.
Require the chair to make a ruling on the question involved.
Yes.
Okay, you are correct. But there's so much here I want to talk about. Particularly one thing you had said, you haven't read this month's National Parliamentarian, have you?
Not much, no.
There's a whole article on the gavel. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and it talks about banging the gavel being like actually inappropriate.
What?
It's a really, really interesting article. It said, like, if you go through, and it's an interesting article, but it basically says, A, there's no requirement to use a gavel at all, and B, when it is mentioned, it talks maybe about 1 or 2 light raps.
Somebody's a wimp.
Just saying, it was a really, really interesting article. So I found it.
These exist for a reason, and the reason is not to not use them.
Where's my cute one? Not the one the one you got me is gorgeous, but it's large. This is my cute little acrylic one.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I do love this little one.
The giant hammer did get back from DC, right?
Oh yeah. But it also talked about.
I'll tell you when I found that one, somebody had, and I almost got this for you, but I decided against it. They had, and literally it was about 2 feet long.
That's what she said.
Pink, and it was inflatable for the gavel.
That's what she said.
And when you hit it, it made a squeaking sound, like sound. I'm like, yeah, it's great as a gag, but that wasn't what I was after.
I really do love this little acrylic one, though. It's adorable.
That's not what she said.
But anyway, and I also talked in the article, JJ, I'm sure will remember, about I think it was Senate or one of the government houses. The I don't know whether it still did or when they first started, they only had like the top part that wrapped with no handle. It's a really, I found the article, to me, that was like the best article in there. I really, really liked it. But there was something in questions and answers that I wanted to, that I didn't know. I learned something very interesting in questions and answers. Okay. Oh, I know what else, though, because people screw this up all the time. Someone makes a point of order. It says, require the chair to make a ruling on the question involved. What else is the chair supposed to do?
Tell them, just determine whether the point of order is well-founded or not.
So, or I think well taken is the, I don't know if there's actually,
right, well taken.
But, so not well taken or well taken and the reason. Right. Very often the chair omits the reason. It doesn't need to be a long-winded explanation. But the secretary is supposed to put the reason in the minutes. And so often it is the chair doesn't state the reason. And also, you and I, we're sticklers for correct terminology, even though you say precedence wrong. And I'm just thinking of, listen, John Wilford's a big boy. He can put up with me making a joke at his expense. So remember, when you're in executive session, I know I'm going far afield, but we're talking about correct terminology here. Like the LNC does what? It rises out of executive session. I used to love in John Wilford's minutes. He'd put, we fell into it. The LNC fell into executive session and then rose out of. I'm like, whoops, we done fallen and we can't get up.
No. It's like a cake rising and falling.
Gregory Carlson says, now JJ can tell me because he hates my minutes, and you know what I think about that. Gregory said, I found that putting the point of order in the minutes is really done. I think that's required in Roberts, though. I think that's one of the minimal things that is required in Roberts. I know I do, but our special rules of order require me to put it.
And that is your convention minutes nightmare right now.
Oh, no, it actually isn't, because I'll tell you what I did. Remember, I'm going to analogize back to bylaws. It doesn't matter what you call your governing document. You could call it, if you only have one document, but you call it the Constitution, it's your bylaws. Like New York calls their governing document the rules because their state law requires that name, but it's their bylaws. You could call it anything that you want. It's your bylaws. So there's a sentence in Roberts, I wish I knew where it was, and JJ, who's like, Mensa, will tell us where it is. But it basically says that Roberts cares more about what a thing is rather than what a thing is called. So when I am doing these minutes, I put a technical note up at the top of these minutes that said there were, and right now, any secretary who like 10 years from now is reading these minutes and reads this technical note at the top would have been saying, oh my God, this poor person, this must have been a nightmare of a convention. JJ said a committee does rise. It isn't the rising part I had a problem with. It was the falling part that I had a problem with. So,
please help me, I'm falling.
So I put a technical note at the top of the minutes that said multiple flying points of order and points of whatever I said were raised and are not recorded because they were more properly points of parliamentary inquiry. And you don't record those in the minutes. So, nope. There still was a lot of legitimate points of order, but about 8 out of the 10, points of order weren't really, and I'm not recording those. Nope. So half of me, because I couldn't hear up there, I am listening to the recording. Do you remember what time we adjourned on Sunday? Because the recording cuts out, and I was so fucking tired, I didn't write it down. I think it was like 109 or something like that.
It was somewhere close to that, like 109 or 111 in the morning or something like that, because I finally got off the floor at about 1:30 after we were packed trying to shut things down on our side. All I know is that it was way too effing late, and we were turning into pumpkins.
Joe Dean has a really bad recording, because it's not bad because he's bad. It's just that it's just the bad recording. But our YouTube stream cut off after the 7th round of presidential, so that last 2 rounds of EP and the time of adjournment is not in the recording. And I was so tired, I just moved "We Adjourn Sunny Die" and I neglected to put down the time. So
Richard says he might have the time in his notes.
Oh, if you do, that would be great, because I know my notes are good except for that. Like, I have all the motions. I don't need the recording. I just need the time we adjourned. I was so freaking tired, and I realize now it wasn't just that I was tired.
Everybody was tired.
It wasn't just that.
So freaking tired.
I was getting sick, as you knew. I was sick for 2.5 weeks after that convention. But going back and listening, and watching myself, I'm like, oh no, I was getting sick then. Because so many things I should have caught, I didn't catch. I was not. And JJ says it was around 105. For some reason, 109 is stuck in my head. But I know it was before 115. So we're somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Hopefully somebody has it. I'll ask Joe Dean for his recording if I can't find it anywhere else. Okay. Okay. Where were we at? Oh, so
no.
It requires the chair to state the reason as well.
Right.
But, and maybe I'm wrong about my technicality here, and JJ I'm sure will tell me, because he loves to tell me when I'm wrong. When someone appeals, what's the correct wording?
By who?
The person making the appeal.
They should say they appeal from the ruling of the chair.
From. Right.
Yes.
Okay, that was it. Most people go, I appeal the ruling, but I don't know, that's one of my pet peeves.
We had a lot of discussion about that one a while back.
Yeah, it's appeal from the ruling of the chair. Okay. All right, that's all I wanted to say about that. All right. The chair responds or directs a member to respond to which of the following requests and inquiries? A, request for information. B, request for permission to withdraw a motion. C, request to be excused from a duty. D, all of the above are correct.
Okay, the original question was the chair does what with this?
The chair responds, so the chair responds themselves, or directs a member to respond to which of the following requests and inquiries? A, request for information. B, request for permission to withdraw a motion. C,
would be to the body, maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
Request to be excused from a duty. D, all of the above.
Chair. I'm going D.
Which one?
D.
I'm sorry, did you say B as in boy or D as in dog?
D, all the above.
It's actually A, request for information. I know what stumped you up.
Mm-hmm.
The chair responds or directs a member, singular, to respond.
Nitpick. Shoot the question.
I think though that's why, and I'd also besides it just being singular, I don't think you would call like request for permission to withdraw a motion. I don't know if you would. I don't know if you would be asking the members, let's just say it was plural. I don't think you're asking them to respond. I don't know if that would really be called a response.
But a request to be excused from duty can go to the chair directly.
Well, that's like a resignation. A resignation is a request to be excused from a duty.
No,
yeah, it is.
They're two different things.
Oh, no, they're not.
No, they're different. Yes, they are.
A resignation is a form. No.
But not all requests to be excused from duty are resignations.
Oh, no, I didn't say that. I said a resignation is a form of a request to be excused from a duty.
That's what you said the second time. The first time you said a resignation wasn't it?
No, I said is one of them. Is a request to is. I said it is a request to be excused from a duty. It's one of them. There's a lot of requests to be excused from a duty.
Yes, there are.
Let me see here. Requests and inquiries. I can't request to be excused from a duty. Looks like 71 through 72.
That's where I'm going.
So it's at the bottom of 70, yeah.
Oh, it doesn't give the details on that page. It just says what it is.
Okay, well, let's...
289, 290. Request to be excused from duty. Standard descriptive characteristics. That takes a vote of the body. Okay, I guess.
Right, which a resignation does.
And then... okay, so I can see why that wouldn't be the case. Okay.
Yes, if you go to 291, by submitting a resignation, the member is, in effect, requesting to be excused from a duty.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah.
One of the... There's other duties you can have. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Here we go. Which of the following motions is not a motion to bring a question again before the assembly? A, rescind. B, amend something previously adopted. C, ratify. D, reconsider.
Okay.
This is a fun one.
Reconsider definitely brings it back before the assembly, by definition. Rescind can, because I believe you can debate the merits of the original on a motion to rescind. Amend something previously adopted is a tricky one, because technically it is, but it also isn't. It is in the fact that it's something that was before a similar body before, but not necessarily
or the same one. It could have been one 20 years ago, right, though, but yeah.
Exactly. And ratify indicates that it was never brought before the body in the first place. So the question originally was, which again?
Which of the following motions is not a motion to bring a question again?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, not. So I think it's ratify.
It is. You're correct.
Okay. Make sure I read the question right.
I don't know if JJ's involved in this particular drama. This is a really important point in a current drama, which you probably are unaware of because I don't think it's hit the public consciousness yet.
Uh-oh.
Who knows? Okay. Next one. Oh, I haven't been keeping track. That's fine. You know how you're doing. You know what you need to study. I'm... Where was I at? Oh. The introduction of which of the following motions always brings business before the assembly.
Okay.
So JJ is involved with the ratified drama in question. Okay. You're not.
So am I, but I'm not talking about it.
No. It's a different Wisconsin issue. It's nothing that's come before the JC. It's entirely different Wisconsin. Wisconsin has issues. They have many issues.
Yeah. But there is a question of ratification attached to the one before the JC, too.
Too late on that, though. But anyway, I want to tell you something interesting about Wisconsin. Tell me to shut up if you want me to shut up. And I want to talk to JJ about this one more. They have one of those, and I don't mind saying this, retarded bylaws that's like, and we can suspend Roberts at any time.
Mm-hmm.
That is its own problem. But okay, you can only suspend things in the context of a meeting. You can't pre-suspend it in order to have an illegal meeting. You have to have a legal meeting to do the suspension. And the suspension only lasts for the duration of that meeting. So here's part of the problems in Wisconsin. They have virtual meetings. Their bylaws do not permit it. So they meet virtually and suspend Roberts and then continue. But there hasn't been a legitimate meeting yet. They have to meet in person in order to suspend, in order to continue that same meeting virtually, which they might as well not do because they're already at a legitimate in-person meeting. This is what you get when you have the guy who happens to know Roberts a little bit better than the guy sitting next to him, like, think they know everything. Okay, but that is just such an interesting chicken and egg. Like, you have to have a valid meeting first.
Problems.
They've got... You know, did you ever used to watch Xena, Warrior Princess? Because it was like a huge... I loved that show.
Off and on.
But Xena used to say, I have many skills. Wisconsin has many problems. Ooh, boy, are there some bad bylaws.
Trust me, I've read them. They suck.
Yeah, they're not the worst, which is sad that there are ones that are worse. They are not the worst.
I know.
But they're not
good.
They're not good. Okay. Next, where were we? The standard descriptive characteristics of a motion contain. So, the SDC contains.
Okay.
A, the motions over which it takes precedence. B, to what motions it yields. C, what motions are applicable to it. D, all of the above.
That's all the above.
Yeah, it is. I want to make sure that wasn't a trick one, but yeah, it's all the above.
Yeah.
All right.
That was straightforward.
Okay, we are done now with classifications of motions.
Yay, thank God.
Okay. So, Chapter 5, the main motion.
Chapter 5?
Well, that's what it says here.
What we just,
No, it's not the chapter in the book.
What we just did.
No, it's the way the study guide. I won't. Section, the main motion. So now you're going to have a bunch of questions just on the main motion. That's the title of this section.
Okay.
Okay, first one. What kind of motion introduces a substantive question as a new subject? A, incidental motion. B, original main motion. C, incidental main motion. D, subsidiary motion.
Original main motion.
Yeah, that's easy. Like, I think that's probably even on the NAP entrance exam.
That's RONR 001. Not even
Yeah, that's like
101.
-1. Yeah, I bet you that question is on the entrance exam. That's one of those simple ones. Okay.
I don't remember seeing that, but it could have been.
It seems to me like it would be something that would be, but I don't remember
Yeah.
either. It's been years. And I don't know if they change it up either.
Probably did.
14. Excuse me. Why does it say 14 there? This is weird.
Somebody forgot to proofread.
No. So, for instance, question number 26, in parentheses next to it, it says 399, even though the answer isn't on page 399. And then 27 in parentheses next to it, it says 256. And then after 28 in parentheses next to it, it says 14. I have no idea what these parentheses mean. They don't correspond. It's probably in the beginning of this thing. It probably explains what those mean.
Was the previous section that way too?
Yeah, they all were. I just never noticed it until right now. I don't know what that means. Okay.
Weird.
An
Anyway.
incidental main motion.
Yeah.
A is a main motion that relates to the business of the assembly or its past or future action. B is usually presented in writing. C always corresponds to secondary motions described by the same or similar names. D marks the beginning of a particular involvement of this assembly in a substantive matter.
Okay. Well, it's not D because that's broader for main motions in general. C was what again?
Always corresponds to a secondary motion described by the same or similar names.
Possibly true. What's B?
Is usually presented in writing.
Doesn't matter. A.
Is
That's
a
it.
main motion that relates to the business of the assembly or its past or future action.
I gotta go with A. I think that's the best answer.
It
Either
is
C.
A. It is A. And I don't
Yeah.
think all of them have secondary motions described by the same or similar names. I think this came up before. I think there are some incidental main motions that
I
don't
think there
have.
was,
I can't think of which one.
but I haven't reviewed that lately to be sure, but that's why I said it might be.
Hey, in
Yeah, I have
chat,
that
here
cheat
I
sheet.
am. Look how
Sorry.
rude I am. Hey, you in chat over there, Richard or JJ. What incidental main motion does not have a secondary motion described by the same or similar name? Adjourn?
I'm seeing a comment in chat here, which is not them, but ratify.
Ratify, but
Just
would
because-
adjourn be one too? Because there isn't a secondary motion. Adjourn.
No, it's an incidental, and then there's a privileged on adjourn.
Okay, but there's a non-privileged form of adjourn. And that
Right.
would be an incidental main motion.
Right, but I don't think the privileged one is a secondary. I think it's there.
Right, I don't think there is any secondary one. That's what I'm saying. I think that's an example. Oh, adjourn is a secondary
Oh, it is.
motion?
It is.
It is? Why wouldn't that be an incidental main motion? Interesting. You and I suck at classification.
Incidental.
Gregory, just so you know, Mike and I, me more so than Mike, unless Mike wants to own it, I don't like criticizing it. We suck at classifications, but I will say I suck more at it.
No, it says according to 21, the very first paragraph, it's a privilege or a main motion depending upon a number of conditions. I don't see where it's a secondary.
Now, secondary include privileged. So there is a corresponding secondary motion. Okay, got it.
Okay. That
Got
makes more
it.
sense.
Got it. I fucking hate classifications.
I
I'm
know,
getting better
but
at them.
It's just they're a pain in the neck to keep straight all the time. That's why these exist. What the
I
hell?
know. I know emotion you love. 'Cause you okay? Here's what's funny. Because you and I know like our Robert's kinks. What's my
Yeah.
kink?
Yours is to, or I think it's record and expunge or something like that.
No,
For
not bucket
the record.
list. No, what's the thing
Yeah.
that I just love and like
Oh,
have,
you and your substitutes. Yeah.
and the motion I know you love. It's not that you make it all the time, but it's kind of your jam. Is objection to consideration of the
The
question.
consideration of the question. Yes.
You see, we know each other's kinks. Yeah, my bucket list. We've done a rescind and expunge. What I haven't done yet is reconsider and enter on the minutes. That is still on my bucket list. But I've done the expunge. I've done the ceremony. I've done the whole thing. That was a lot of fun.
we know each other's kinks. Ooh, baby.
Yeah, but you love objection to consideration of the question. So I have a trivia question for you on that.
Okay.
Can objection to the consideration of the question be applied to any main motion before debate has happened?
No, it cannot.
Which ones can't it?
It cannot be applied to an incidental main motion.
Yeah, I know you'd know that because it's your jam, but most people don't. Gregory says reconsider and enter.
We also had an argument about that a while back, and I was proven wrong on that.
See, Gregory says reconsider and enter on the minutes scares me. I'm fascinated by it. I want to do that so badly. I also want to do the clinch. You know what the clinch is, right?
No.
JJ can explain it better. So JJ,
Not in this context anyway.
yeah. So say something you want passes, and it's got plenty of votes to pass, but you think later that's
flip your votes so you can bring it up to reconsideration later.
So vote no, and then immediately move to reconsider. And since you already knew you had the votes, you know it'll fail. It cannot be brought up for reconsideration again for the rest of the session. So if you know you're going to lose the room on Sunday on a convention,
You can lock it down in advance.
lock it down on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dying to do that one too. That's sneaky. That's a sneaky one right there.
It is.
Anyway.
The problem is also the chair can't rule it out of order either because it's not.
Right. I'm starting to disagree with JJ on something, though. JJ just hates when I do this. The whole thing with the retroactivity, like retroactive bylaws, I'm not so sure I agree.
Bylaws?
Yeah, he thinks you can make bylaws retroactive.
No.
I don't think... He's got a really good article on it. You have it.
Yeah.
He sent it to both of us a while ago. It's called Retroactivity.
Yeah. I don't think I agree with that because if that opens up a can of worms that you don't want to go into.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, which just shows that I have no life. That I've been thinking about that. Anyway, an example of an incidental main motion would be the motion to, A, adopt recommendations of a committee to whom the motion was referred. B,
Maybe. Keep going.
take a recess while business is pending. C, ratify emergency action taken at a meeting when no quorum was present. D, oppose a new municipal tax at this time.
Wait a minute. Okay. Incidental main motion. Read that whole thing off again to make sure I heard that correctly.
An example of an incidental main motion.
Okay.
Adopt recommendations of a committee to whom the motion was referred. B.
Okay,
Take a recess while business is pending.
that's a privileged motion, not an incidental one, so no.
C. Ratify emergency action taken at a meeting when no quorum was present.
Maybe. And what's the last one?
D. Oppose a new municipal tax at this time.
That would just be a main motion. So it's not D. So that leaves us back with A and B. And A was, again, one more time.
Adopt recommendations of a committee to whom the motion was referred.
Okay. And then B was...
Take a recess while business is pending.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with A. I think that's the right answer.
Adopt recommendations of a committee to whom the motion was referred.
Well, wait a minute. C was to ratify something that was done.
Emergency action. Ratify emergency action taken at a meeting when no quorum was present.
You can't ratify something that wasn't valid in the first place. So, yeah, I'm sticking with A.
Not C.
What?
That's what ratifies for, really. That's why my motion to ratify at convention was well, I'm not even going to get into that because you all will be hearing an appeal on that. Not even going to get into it's going to be something that we're going to all become very familiar with. I did a weird use of ratify. It probably wasn't like exactly correct. But it was the only way I could see to have the
ratify a decision that was made when there's no quorum, which means you can't make a decision in the first place.
Well, it's kosherifying it.
But that's
so
not
we're going to go 101
because there was no
right.
quorum.
It wasn't valid. That's why it had to be ratified.
Well, that means that the motion never existed in the first place.
Well, it didn't validly exist.
No, because if you don't have a quorum, you can't conduct only certain types of business. So you can't. There's nothing there to ratify. Is what I'm saying. You're
ratifying. You're making good about invalid decision.
No.
Well, we're going to read it.
You can't make good an invalid decision because there wasn't.
That's what ratify is.
In the first place.
That's what ratify is, though.
Ratify confirms the decision validly made, not something invalidly made.
Right. It was invalidly made because there was no quorum.
Right. So you can't ratify something that was invalidly made. It has to be validly made first.
Then it wouldn't need to be ratified.
Well, that's not true either.
Okay, well, let's read here.
But you're just...
Page 101, 27 through 31. That isn't the right... No, that's the wrong thing. So let's look up ratify because that citation is wrong.
This is a main motion involving subject already entered into might be a motion to adopt recommendations which committee prepared upon instructions, or a motion to ratify action taken in a meeting when no quorum was present. An example of this is procedure without reference to citizen's business. Motion to take a recess with no business pending, or a motion to place a special limit on the length of speeches throughout the meeting.
I'm looking up 124 to 125.
And I'm looking up quorum because in the absence of a quorum, any business transacted except for the procedural actions noted in the next paragraph is null and void. Which is what I'm saying. That if it's not valid in the first place, therefore you can't ratify it.
the motion to ratify is an incidental main motion that is used to make it valid an action already taken that cannot become valid until approved. One of the examples is action taken at a special meeting. Action improperly taken at a regular or properly called meeting at which no quorum was present. Page 124.
Look at 347.
Right. It wasn't valid until ratified. That's what made it valid.
It was null and void. You can't ratify something that's null and void.
That's what ratified does.
No, it does not do that.
Yeah, it is that's one of the things it does.
What page were you saying?
124 at the end.
It contradicts what's on 347.
I don't think so. I think you have to read them in conjunction with absent a ratification, it's null and void. But if it's ratified, it's made good. It's like saying
ratify something that something that's null and void means it never happened. You can't ratify
the ratification makes it happen.
No, confirms that something happened legally.
I'm just telling you what it says, so you're going to need to know that for the test.
And I'm telling you what the contradiction is. In the absence of a quorum, any business transacted except for procedural actions noted in the next paragraph is null and void. And so it goes on. Even in the absence of a quorum, the assembly may fix the time to which to adjourn, recess, or take measures to obtain a quorum.
Just telling you that's what 124 says.
It does not say that actions made have to be ratified at the next quorum meeting. That's not what it says. It says it's null and void. You cannot ratify something which is void in the first place.
It's made not null and void by the ratification. So, actually, let me try to explain.
No. That brings it up as a brand new order of business at the next meeting. That is not ratifying something already done. That's new business.
Okay, let me try to explain a little different. And I'm asking, settle down. Like, I know you're getting upset. I'm trying to. So an officer did something, spent money, which normally they'd have to get a vote for. They didn't get the proper vote for it because there wasn't a quorum.
Yeah.
If absent a ratification, which again, you are correct, it is as if they are approving it after the fact. But absent that ratification, the officer would be on the hook for the money themselves.
He should be on the hook for the money, period, because he never had approval in the first place.
But sometimes there's an emergency situation.
Then you call an emergency meeting.
And JJ said what I did. It's only null and void until ratified.
You can't ratify something that's null and void. It has to be a legitimate action in the first place.
Well, you can kick against the goads, but you won't pass that question. So just bite your tongue and know that that's probably going to be on the test. Okay, next one. Oh, I wanted to answer a question in text. Because this is interesting. It's from Trendlin. Trendlin said, I'm going to put this on the screen when we're talking about retroactivity. Isn't that what we did at National Convention with the bylaw change Saturday afternoon regarding the sitting of the delegates, making a motion retroactive? No, we did not. Because, for one thing, I think Aaron does not think you can do a retroactive bylaw, which, again, I'm still pondering, but I don't think Aaron agrees with JJ on that point. Because, and the reason why I know that's not what we did is a question came up. In making this motion, is this and to seat. Remember, First, changing the vote threshold from 7/8 to 2/3 failed. And then Aaron made a second motion to do the bylaws change and seat those delegates. It was and to seat those delegates with a 2/3 vote, and he explained, or the chair explained, somebody explained that yes, that presumed that up until that moment, they were not validly seated, potentially. It got very confusing at that point, but I don't think it was done as a retroactive motion. I think it was done as a way to make sure there was no question on any votes from that point forward. I don't think it was meant to make any potentially invalid motions that were done prior, in which those voters could have made a difference in the outcome, valid, because we really had done nothing. We had argued about delegates up until that point, and maybe going back through the minutes, there would have been some motions that wouldn't have passed if they were considered invalid, but it was all about delegates, and we could have just redid all of those motions and they would have passed easily, and nobody just wanted to do that. But I think it was made very clear, in the recording at least, that the intent was not to make a retroactive bylaw. That the intent was, it was almost like a ratification. Yeah, JJ agreed it was not retroactive as well.
To be fair, I wasn't paying attention to that whole mess because I was worried about
I wasn't
at the time. So.
I was getting sick, didn't really so much then, but listening back doing the minutes is the only reason that I remember all that. Okay. I don't have the 12th edition in front of me, or I'd want to look up 1054, but I'll look that up later. Okay. The motion to reset.
1054 claims that it's an inaction improperly taken at a regular or properly called meeting in which no quorum was present. But, that's again, 40.6. In the absence of a quorum, any business transaction except for the procedural actions noted are null and void.
Until ratified.
So, it's not a question of whether it can
it's
be
not
ratified
a question.
later. It's not a question of whether the action was improperly taken. It was null and void by definition.
Mike,
Therefore,
it's
it could not have
a
been taken.
question of where he grasped it. It's a simple matter of physics that a 10-ounce bird cannot carry a 2-pound coconut.
Actually, it can, but anyway. Sorry, you're the one who says birds aren't real.
They were real then. That was during the time of King Arthur. The realness is modern, right?
The term you're looking for is the weight capacity of an unladen swallow.
Exactly.
But anyway.
Right.
But that's
but
not
remember, they
here.
asked, where does he grasp it? By the shank? But he's like, that it's not a matter of where he grasps it. It's a weight-size ratio question.
That's not really relevant here.
Okay. No, but the 1050, the 10, whatever one you just looked at, dealt with, can only actions of officers be ratified, or can motions be ratified? That implied that...
A motion is an action by definition.
Right. So, I got it.
Anyway, let's go to the next question. That's severely a case where Roberts gets them contradicts themselves and they won't admit it.
It's severely a case of us just being too autistic for our own good. The motion to recess when no business is pending is A, a privileged motion, B, not debatable. C, an incidental main motion. D, an original main motion.
Incidental main motion. Were one of the choices that it was not debatable, or that it was debatable?
B said not debatable.
And it was motion to adjourn or recess?
Recess.
Adjourn, right?
Recess when no business is pending.
Oh. The recess when no business is pending. Okay, different. Okay, for some reason my brain was thinking adjourn for some reason. I'm not sure if it's debatable or not. What was option A?
A privilege motion.
No, it's not that. Okay, so C was...
Incidental main.
And D?
Original main.
It's not an original main motion. It could be an incidental, but I don't remember if it's debatable or not. Although somehow I don't think it is. I'm going to stick with incidental main motion.
It is. It's an incidental main motion. You're correct.
Okay.
Which means it's debatable.
Now I'm going to go look at the card. Recess, not debatable. Okay, fair enough. I didn't want to look at the card first, you know?
Well, it is debatable when it's made when no business is pending. Because it's not privileged at that point.
Motion. That's weird because I look at the card; it only lists under privileged. But anyway.
Well, let's ask the room. A motion to recess made when there's no business pending, is it debatable? Yes. I'm looking in the gray tinted. Recessed, if moved when no question is pending, is debatable and amendable. And it's an incidental main motion. Okay.
So Section 20 only covers it as a privileged motion, not an incidental motion.
It's funny the debate that's going on in chat.
By the way, and as a privilege, it's not debatable. That's where I was basing.
Right, when it's privilege. The debate that's going on in chat is interesting because it's mirroring the debate you and I are having, where in chat JJ's playing me without pink hair, and in chat Gregory's playing you without tie-dye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any case.
The chief difference in the rules.
What was that?
The chief difference in the rules governing original and incidental main motions is A, incidental main motions require only a majority vote. B, objection to consideration of a question can only be applied to an original main motion.
That's a true statement, but keep going.
Only incidental main motions can be reconsidered.
That's not true.
D, only incidental main motions carry with them pending subsidiary motions when laid on the table.
No, it's definitely B.
Yeah, we just talked about that. So
yeah.
I'm just looking here. Oh my God, there's a lot on main motions. Holy schnoogies. Oh my God. There's a lot.
Holy what?
Schnoogies.
Oh, is that what you said?
Wait, what did you think I said?
I'm not sure what you said.
Okay.
It sounded like Joe Biden for a second.
America's blah, blah, blah. I shit my pants.
Exactly. Minus the freeze up in the middle. Yeah.
Okay. We're just gonna do one more because I am super, super tired because I was working on minutes all day.
Well, I was working on chainsawing all day in the heat, so.
And you'll see if you watch the LNC list, I got part day 2 up and all of the appendices. And those appendices...
Except for the teller's report, which I haven't finished yet.
Well, except for that. But I mean all the charts. And here I am, because I don't have like a real adding machine with a tape, which I wish I had. I'm sure there's a program for it that like does that, which would be kind of be cool. But I'm just doing it on my iPhone, and I'm having to cross-reference all these dumbass tables. And Wayne walks up to me because he's coming home. He's all happy, wants to give me a kiss, and I'm like, you interrupt me right now, I'm going to murder you. You interrupt me right now. And he's like, I'm going to clip out the portion of the convention, though, where someone did a point of personal privilege and said it was noisy. And Andrew Watkins was chairing at the time, and he's like, yeah, we need to close the doors. And then he was like, where's Wayne?
See, in my case, I would have responded to that saying, I'm sorry, can you please restate your point of personal privilege? I can't hear you over the noise.
Yeah. It's too loud in here. I can't hear you. But the where's Wayne? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh. But going back through convention, besides it, like, really, I think I need therapy. I think I'm going to need to sign up for BetterHelp after this one. I was doing Catholic prayers about it yesterday, and I'm not even a Catholic. I was praying to Mary. I was like, I'll take any help I can get right now. Let's get all the saints in on here. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, it really struck me, and I did put this on the LNC list earlier today. What a good job Andrew did. I didn't hear you.
He did all right.
Oh, I thought he did a really good job, particularly since, remember, Andrew only became vice chair midterm after Joshua resigned. Yeah. Andrew didn't run for that. He was a regional. He was Region 5 and ascended.
Yeah, but remember who set the bar for that. And that's the man, the myth, the legend, Alex Merced.
I love when Angel said at the end of convention, I made it through and my hair is still nice. I don't look like I just came off a heroin bender. Poor Alex. He definitely needed therapy.
He's actually getting back involved with the party after that.
I saw that,
which is good to see.
Yeah, I love Alex. But that first day, you see that picture of him, knowing what's coming, and your heart breaks because he's so cheerful and happy. He's like, and it's like, oh no. Oh, well, no.
He was lucky. He had good backup in you, me, and Richard up there, so.
And when Omar came up and chaired for a little while, Omar did a good job.
Yeah.
I forgot what question that was, but it was something that Alex just felt he had too strong of a personal opinion on and couldn't chair impartially, and he had Omar come up, and I thought Omar did a good job on that.
Was it that, or he had to bail out and go to the restroom?
No, it was he was very conflicted. At one point
he did that too.
No, it had to do with the seating of the there was something he had a very personal, strong opinion on that he just felt too conflicted. Okay. Yeah. I think we're done. Are we done?
I think we're good for the day. Yeah,
I think there's probably been a weird hum in the background because I forgot to turn my heater off. I bet you it sounds a lot cleaner now. I hear it on the recordings, and I had it on when I first came down here because I had a ballot access committee meeting right before here. Okay, well, good. Well, the New Mexico drive is almost over. Woo, baby. So, yeah.
The Alabama one is a different problem. But anyway,
We're having an XCOM on that tomorrow.
I know. Talk to Sam in
Yeah.
the meantime. But
Me?
no,
Talk to Sam?
Yeah, yeah. Talk to Sam
Bill
Boyd.
probably has. Bill Redpath normally handles that.
Well, then let have Bill talk to Sam then. But yeah, but as far as me goes, yeah, noted about the Teller's report. I'm working on it. So
Yeah, don't worry about it because I still have to do day 3.
yeah, I know, but I
And
still want to get it done.
yeah, because after day 3, I give them a couple days. Then I'll assemble all of the parts together, give a couple days. Then it has to be posted on the website for 14 days for any corrections. Right. And then a motion's made to the LNC to approve it.
Right. So
okay.
it's a work in progress.
I'll be glad when it's done. What's the date today?
23rd.
So I got nearly. I shouldn't even say that because like day 3 is the 13-hour one. But it hasn't even been 30 days, and I have 60 days to do it. It's probably going to take another couple weeks before I'm done with day 3. It might be by this weekend, but I don't think so. That 13-hour day. Okay.
I know. That was effing insane.
Yeah, that was something. That was definitely something. All right, so next Sunday, right? I'm trying to think of what next Sunday is. Hold on, I need to pull up a calendar. Because there is a Sunday we're not going to. What did I do? I lost us.
Blackout on aisle 3.
And now it's just me again. I screwed
you.
this. Yeah, I screwed this up again. Let me try to.
I'm still here, believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. I was trying to do a keyboard shortcut, but forget it. The first Sunday in July, which I think is the 7th, we can't because that's an LNC meeting.
That is right.
Okay.
And that's a 4-day. That's the 4-day 4th of July weekend anyway.
Okay, well, we had quite a few viewers on Twitter. Thank you. I need to look to see if there's a way that we could get Twitter comments into the stream. That would be fantastic. There might be some upgrade for that. Otherwise, yeah, I'm tired.
Okay.
I want to go.
And it sounds like my current rig here worked pretty good too on that side.
And now you're not delaying. I don't know what was happening. It fluctuated a lot.
I don't get it. Blame the internet. So.
Okay, I gotta tell you something really disappointing.
For the crowd's edification, I picked up a new microphone and headset over the weekend after a minor hiccup with the company because I ordered the wrong one by accident, but the new one came in and it seemed to be working okay now. So,
and I want to get another headset.
Butt,
this is fine for Pink Flame of Liberty, but I want to do a different one for this show. So I need to get a new headset. I just whatever.
Yeah, I mean
I
guess
every time you move, that's what's fucking it up, dude. Every time you move it, now it's messed up again.
Yeah, I know. It does that. It's actually the connection on the on the laptop. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So it's back to normal now, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So I'll see you next Sunday. And for everyone else about Pink Flame of Liberty, not sure because starting some freelance work next week. So it's just for multiple people and just really not sure how that schedule is going to work. So don't know. Might have to actually start doing pre-recorded shows. And you know me, I'm like so lazy about editing that I just like doing lives. All right, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night and good night, Mike.
All righty. See y'all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Viva! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray, all opposed. You say nay, opposed! Opposed! goes! The motion carries anyway.